I mean, they've done that against a lot of people. What sets them apart defensively?
Well, they pack that zone in and really collapse on drivers. They make you make the extra pass, and if you're not ready to do that, um, your offense could be stagnant and make you shoot it over the top, and you have to hit some shots.
You're just 2-2 from that game, but you feel like your team's made a lot of steps since then.
Well, I think we've played better. We've played for the more talented teams in the league. Arizona State and Arizona, USC, I think, are the three teams that right now are projected to finish strong, and UCLA's right there. They're very talented. I think UCLA's got three guys that are going to play for a long time. With Wilkes and Welsh and Holiday. I mean, they've got three really good players there, and their supporting cast is pretty good. So we've played for talented teams. We've played a little better. We've had to just to stay in the game. But Oregon State's talented. Eubanks and Thompson brothers and Trey. They got a very talented team, and the guys that support them really relish their roles and take care of them. So they're a well put together team.
Last time out, the ball the last couple of weeks. The way you're moving the ball last couple of weeks, how much better do you think you can be offensively against them this time?
Well, it goes game to game, but we have moved the ball better since then, and it's shown in our point production. Scored 83 against Arizona, 94 the other day, 76, 70. I mean, we've scored enough points. Haven't been particularly pleased with our defense, and definitely not our rebounding. But offensively, I think we have moved the ball better. I thought our first half against UCLA the other day was, by far our best. 14 assists, no turnovers. Offensively, we did a good job. Now we put them on the free throw line way too much that first half and let them stay in the game from the line. But I thought offensively we moved the ball pretty good.
Is there a correlation with Peyton playing really well those 4 games that your offense got?
He has made a difference. He has taken a lot of leadership. He's trying to get our defense more intact. Communication, it kind of starts with him. He's done a very good job, and we've had other players. Obviously, Kyle stepped up. We've had other players step up, but Peyton definitely has taken a leadership role, and it has made us play better.
Up in Corvallis, it wasn't Peyton's best game. Was that them slowing him down, or did he got in foul trouble early in that?
Well, he got 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game, and that just it hurts a lot of players. Troy got 2 quick ones against Arizona State, and then he didn't have a good game. You're so cautious after that because you don't want to get that 3rd foul in the first half if I put you back in there, and then you start the second half going, man, I can't get my 3rd, and it just puts you on your heels, and most guys struggle with that a little bit. So we had kind of the same thing with Holiday, the other day against UCLA. He got those 2 fouls, and then wasn't much of a factor in the first half. Now he got it all straightened out in the second half, but it wasn't much of a factor in the first. So I think that was, the main reason.
Are these guys young enough that I think Peyton's only not played 5 minutes in like the last 4 games? Are these guys young enough where that doesn't really take much of a toll on them? Or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we practiced for a couple hours. I think it's more the emotional drain, that wears on a player. In fact, I just got off the phone with Dylan Brooks. He's talking about, there have already 40 games, whatever. So guys can play, and I don't think unless you have something physically bothering you that it's a physical thing. I think more times than not it's the mental drain, that trying to stay sharp, trying to stay competitive, and we're going to have a little bit of a problem with it this year. That for whatever reason, the schedule, we've had both of our 1-week games early here. We've got 5 straight weeks now. Then the tournament, with no breaks. So emotionally, our freshmen, physically, I don't think. Those guys are young, they can play, and I don't think it's that much of a thing. But I do think if a young man's competing at a high level, that it does wear you down a little bit, you know, getting up for every game, coming to every practice competitive. That's where mental toughness comes in. You know, you got to stay after yourself, and that's what the great competitors do. They're able to channel that every day and get themselves ready for practice and games and through a long season.
Because you do have so many new guys, have you had to coach this team harder or be tougher on them than maybe with some teams in the past?
You know, coaching is not an exact science. I haven't brought our coaching staff. We haven't brought them along as quickly as we'd hoped. We've said that. We've told them that. You know, we thought we'd be further along, and so, you know, you look back and you go, what would I have done differently? You know, where should I have been on them more? You know, we've had a lot of nagging injuries. We've had a lot of guys miss practice. You know, we've had a lot of missed practice days, which affects a young team and a team that you're trying to put together. But you know, looking back, I haven't done a good job with them. You know, we should be further along. You know, we should have a few more wins in the win column, and you know, we can't change that. I keep telling them, hey, there's nothing we can change. It's done. It's in the books. You know, the only thing we can do is move forward and try to get better. And you know, here's the reasons we haven't been successful. You know, we've got to try to change those things. And you know, for the most part, I think they really want to, but the things we have to change are the tough things. You know, so it's not easy. I think if I went out there and told them, hey fellas, we got to get more threes up, you know, they'd be all in. You know, but we're taking too many of those. We're not getting the ball to the basket enough on the offensive end. Our ball movement needs to get better. You know, I've told them about our stats with the rebounding. You know, they're aware that when we out-rebound people, we're in pretty good shape. And when we don't out-rebound people, we haven't been successful. Defensively, we continue to show them the mistakes we're making, the lack of communication, and how it affects our team. You know, other than, you know, really making them run every time they don't do it, you know, I don't know what else there is, you know. And like I said, the guys want to do it, but it's not easy for first-year players, and at times our leadership let it slip a little bit. But I think they're trying harder now. They have a sense of urgency more than they did early, and you know, hopefully we can get everybody on the same page.
With the young player, sometimes do you wonder how they'll respond the first time you really get after them, and then is there a point you just can't worry too much about that?
You know, I mean, and the reason is you just haven't been with them enough. You know, a trust factor, you know, I mean, in every relationship, but coaching, teaching, they got to trust you a little bit. And, you know, with first-year players, sometimes it takes a while, especially younger first-year players. You know, the older guys, they kind of been around the block and they can see the film and, you know, kind of, yeah. But younger guys, you know, it does take longer, and building that trust, you know, is important, you know, for guys to do things that they're not comfortable doing. You know, blocking out or diving on a loose ball, taking a charge, you know, when you're the leading scorer on a high school team, you know, they're not asking you to do those things. You know, they don't take charges, you know, they don't dive on loose balls. Because, you know, they want to save my fouls, you know, I got to shoot it every time, you know, so you know, everybody's changing roles, and you got to get them to buy into that, and trust is a big part of that.
With OSU just 3 weeks ago, and both teams are still the same, does that make the film a little bit more? Can these guys maybe read a little bit more into it because it's a little bit more recent?
Oh, you know, the second time around, you know, you hope the guys understand what we didn't do the first time, and you know, have a little better idea of what it takes. You know, we'll see. You know, this is a new group, and the old group really did a great job. You know, we've had the last few teams, you know, that second time around, they've really locked into what we needed to do and really tried to execute. Like I said, this is a new team, and we'll just see, you know, how they handle it.
Can you improve end-of-game execution in practice, or how do you address that?
Well, I'm much more concerned about our, you know, inability to get stops late. You know, we've put teams on the line, you know, with Arizona and USC late, you know. So, you know, offensively we haven't done a great job, but we've had some good looks. We just haven't finished. But defensively, we have not done a good job. And so, you know, we do play a lot of late game situations. We play little 4-minute games and, you know, try to get them comfortable with that. But, you know, this group, you know, needs to continue to get better at that. We've had our opportunities the last 4 games to finish them, and a couple we have finished, but a couple we haven't.
With Dylan making the Rising Stars game, was that a pretty special
Absolutely.
conversation?
No, I'm so happy for him, and you know, he's excited about it. And we happen to be playing in LA, so he was already getting his speeches ready to give to the team and get on him a little bit, his fiery speeches that he likes to give. And but no, I'm so proud of him. He's had a really good stretch. I don't know if you followed the last few games. He'd been playing really well, and the Grizzlies had won 3 or 4 games in a row, so they had a little good stretch, and he'd been playing really well. So no, I'm really happy for him. I mean, he's playing hard and playing well.
What was your feeling out process like when he was a freshman? Like, how long before you kind of felt like you knew him well enough to push his buttons? Or
You know, that went through the entire first year. You know, Dylan's really high-strung, you know, and he and I were butting heads on technicals, things like that. I don't believe in him, and, you know, he got a few of them, so I kept benching him. And, you know, but the one thing that we always had in common is I loved his competitiveness. You know, you look for a trait that you really like in each player, and you want to always look at that trait and try to bring that one. And his competitiveness, I've been able to do this a long time, and he's in the top 5 guys I've had for competitors. You know, hey, we need 10 rebounds tonight to win the game, and he's going to try to get 10 rebounds. You know, hey, we need you to pass the ball because they're setting the defense toward you, and, you know, you need to move the ball more. All right, that's what we need to do. You know, now the first year, you know, he wasn't sure he wanted to listen to all that, but his sophomore and junior year, he was all bought in on, you know, what do I got to do to help us win. So, great competitor, and like I've always said, I think it's one of the most underrated characteristics, you know, as far as natural ability. Everybody looks at athleticism and that, but what good is all that athleticism if you're not a fighter, if you're not a competitor? And he's not the greatest athlete that we've had, but he's one of the best competitors that I've been fortunate enough to work with. And I think that's what's going to keep him in the league for a long time, because 82 games, you need fighters, you know, and he's a competitive young man.
You told Elijah on the technicals. Both of Elijah's have kind of come post-play.
Yeah, we pull him out and tell him that's not what we do here. You know, the college game, you know, talking trash, you can't do it. You know, they've taken it out of the game. You know, if officials hear it, they're going to call it. And Randy McCall made the call. And I've had Randy officiate my games. He's from Colorado, so he worked the Valley. I've had Randy for longer than either one of us want to admit. And I don't think he's ever called a technical on anyone on my team or myself. And so as soon as he did it, Elijah said, I didn't say nothing, Coach. I said, but I'm siding with him. You know, 24 years he's been working our games. I don't think he doesn't overreact to anything. So when he called it, there wasn't much argument. He was coming out. So, you know, like I said, they've taken trash talking out of college basketball. They don't want it. And when officials hear it, they call it. And they should. I mean, if that's the direction, you know, they want to go, then let's go that direction, you know. And so, again, you know, it was the right call. And, you know, we just, like I said, he's the only one that's got any. And, you know, we don't need it. You know, we just play the game. And I think he and I are on the same page. I sure hope we are. So.
You talk about coaching and you feel like maybe you haven't done a good job
this year. Historically, your teams always seem to hit their stride late January through February. Do you feel like this team is not on par with that?
You know, I don't know. Every team's different, and we've been really fortunate to have guys that want to have good teams, and I think these guys want to have a good team. We haven't done anything as coaches. It's the guys. You know, the guys decide, hey, we gotta make this push. You know, it's not like we change and have some magic formula. It's the guys. They just say, hey, we got to get this done. And we've been fortunate, really all 7 years, to have teams that just have kept fighting and want to get better and want to do a good job. And the leadership on those teams have pushed guys through. And we've just been fortunate as coaches to have those kind of competitors. And I think we got those guys on this team. They just, those characteristics have to come out. They got to dig down there and fight through adversity and figure out a way. But I think as a group they want to. We're just not quite sure how to do it yet, but they're good guys. I've enjoyed working with them. I've been frustrated a few times, but that's just part of having a new bunch of guys.
So before they started taking it out of the game, who's the best trash talker you've been around?
Oh my gosh. We've had some good ones on the team. They just Dylan Brooks, if they didn't put a lid on it, Dylan, he was talking the whole time, and didn't know what he was saying half the time, but he was talking. But yeah, Dylan would have been the guy, and if Elgin said anything, then the guys were running because they were worried Elgin was going to run them over, So Elgin didn't say nothing, but when he did, everybody was worried about it. So DeVoe Joseph back in the day, he would talk a little bit too, but no, we've been really fortunate. We've had really good guys, and like I said, really good competitors that kick it in. And I think this group is a good group. I think they got something left, and I sure hope that we can finish strong. But there are no guarantees and there are no magic wands. They're going to either decide to get it done and get it done, or we'll struggle a little bit. But they have picked it up the last 4 games. We've been more competitive. We've been a better team. Now it's just a matter of how we finish. So, all righty, thanks.
Thanks, Dana.